What's up, guys? I just recorded yesterday a video about Casey Musgrave's album Golden Hour, which came out, and a lot of you guys seem to be enjoying that, and thanks for welcoming me back to the YouTube world with open arms. But today I want to talk about an album that I wasn't expecting to love as much as I did. It came out the same day as Casey Musgrave's album and might have gotten lost in the conversation, but it's Ashley McBryde's album, Girl Going Nowhere. Now, who's Ashley McBryde? You might have heard her song, Little Dive Bar in Dahlonega, one of the coolest titles of the year. It's been floating around in like the 40s and 30s on the radio chart because, hey, she's a girl and radio doesn't play girls, as we have learned after like 6 years of posturing from radio saying they're going to do anything about that, and they don't. But that song's pretty cool, and you might have also seen a really awesome video of her playing at the Grand Ole Opry. You might have also heard about her, a year ago maybe from Eric Church inviting her up on stage, or maybe from Garth Brooks covering one of her songs in concerts. There's just been little glimmers of hearing about this girl, Ashley McBryde. But her album came out last Friday, and it is really cool, and I wanted to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it. Okay, Ashley McBryde. She is from Arkansas and lives outside of Nashville, about an hour in a small town now. She has an incredible voice. It is it's almost like it's throaty in the same way that Indigo Girls or Patty Griffin are, but her delivery actually reminds me a lot of Garth Brooks. It gives space and it extends certain words, and it's very much a storytelling voice. Ashley McBryde herself is all kind of like, she has the kind of rocker chick look, and she's all like tatted up, and her hair is kind of crazy, and she's not trying to be the next Kelsey Ballerini or Carrie Underwood and be a Nashville princess. She's much more trying to just be herself, it seems like, and there's probably some degree of branding there, but whatever, there's always some degree of branding there. The album itself is an incredible achievement. It was produced by Jay Joyce, who is probably most famous, or at least most known, for producing Eric Church's records, and it does have that same kind of heartland rock, Springsteen feel that something like Mr. Misunderstood does. This album rather, has some real rockers, and it has some really much more vulnerable moments. I don't even know if you guys can hear the music in the background right now, but I'm listening to the opening track, Girl Going Nowhere, that is the one she played at the Opry, and it's kind of about her, the people that told her she wasn't going to go anywhere playing music, and it's imagining that she is on the stage, there's not an empty chair in sight, and she says it's not bad for a girl going nowhere. It's such a good lyric. That's such a loaded line, because there's a whole story behind that line. Not bad for a girl going nowhere. It's not like you heard that line earlier in the song where someone said, "You're going nowhere." But that's the kind of smart lyricism that's on this record that is really, really fun to listen to, because it assumes that you're smart and you can put together, well, okay, if she's saying not bad for a girl going nowhere, that's something that someone said to her at one point. The writers on this record to that point, they're not names that I've really seen before. You're not getting like the Ashley Gorleys and Rhett Akins that are writing on every big Nashville record. It's like Jeremy Bussey and Autumn McIntyre, Chris Roberts, Terry Joe Box, Randall Clay. Yeah, I don't know most of these names, but I think that's one of the reasons that the writing on this record ends up being as refreshing as it is. And it so is, guys. This is an album of awesome, awesome lyrics. My first impression when I first heard the record is that she has perfected the checklist song. There's been a lot said by myself and many other critics about what's called checklist country. I once wrote an article called The Pinterestification of Country Music. And it was all about how, choruses aren't really telling a narrative anymore. They're just sort of listing things. Like, you think about John Cougar, John Deere, John 316, or you even think about the song Female by Keith Urban. They're just literally listing things. And what I really like on this record is there's a few songs like The Jacket, where it really is, I pulled up the lyrics right here, it's listing things, but it's doing it in a much more interesting way with more fun vocabulary. This is the chorus. This thing is 2,000 bonfires, I hitchhiked to Boulder. It kept a million raindrops off mama's shoulders. It's my heart on my sleeve, my life in these patches. He wrapped his arms around me in that old jean jacket. That's one little example, but I think there are a ton of songs on here. Even on Radioland, even on Southern Babylon, where it's really just sort of painting pictures, but with the most fun words. I think part of the brilliance of the writing on this record is Ashley McBryde uses maybe more proper nouns than any record I've ever heard, and they're not all Chevrolet, although I think there might be a Chevy mentioned somewhere on here. But I just wrote down a couple. This was literally looking at the lyrics like 3 songs. Babylon, Kennedy, Monroe, Hotel California, Towns Van Zandt, Susie High School, Leroy, Corinth, Mississippi, Boulder, Dahlonega, that's her lead single, which is a suburb outside of Georgia. It's so fun. It feels like, wow, when she mentions a specific song or a specific car, she says Tacoma another time. It makes the song immediately feel more lived in and more real. It's not all going for vague things. And again, it's assuming that we as listeners are smart, and I so appreciate that. This writing is excellent. There are songs on this record that are super up-tempo and super interesting. Living Next to Leroy is a huge standout for me, in that it's a really upbeat, fast rocker of a song with a really macabre message of a drug addict or a drug dealer, rather, that dies. It kind of reminds me of Knives of New Orleans by Eric Church, in that it's sort of this cool juxtaposition of mood and content. Radioland, I think, is a pretty fun, excellent road trip song. And El Dorado, near the end of the record, is really fun. But some of the slow songs on here, I already talked about Girl Going Nowhere. Those are the ones that really kind of get to me. And they're the ones that really remind me of Garth Brooks. And I'm not surprised that Garth is covering Girl Going Nowhere as Guy Going Nowhere, because they really are the perfect mix of earnest and with just the right touch of edges and realism to bring them to life. So we've got that. Let me just look at this track list really quick. Man, guys, I love everything on this record. The Jacket I mentioned. Andy, I Can't Live Without You is definitely the most vulnerable song on this record. It's the one that she wrote by herself. She says it's about a bandmate, but it certainly reads as a love song of being like, don't go somewhere without me. And if there's a theme that I think runs through this record, it's like a longing for love, but then at the same time it is, and this is not new to the Nashville story, it is a love affair with music. The last song on this record is called Home Sweet Highway, and it's truly Ashley McBryde singing her love of the highway and of touring. Girl Going Nowhere is obviously about needing to play music. We've also got a Little Dive Bar in Dahlonega, kind of this like love letter to bars. I mean, I think that's very much kind of in the same line of thinking as like On the Road Again by Willie Nelson, or even Tin Star by Lindy Ortega, or The Highway by Holly Williams. And it's a beautiful theme that kind of runs through this, that she loves music and she has to be playing music. As far as what's wrong on this record, man, I don't have a ton of negatives to say. The vocals are crazy good. The songs are so well constructed and they breathe. There's not like a lot of I don't think there's any bad song on the record. American Scandal is the one that it's not my favorite. I think it looks like it's going to get pushed as the next single, but maybe it's because I'm not one of those Kennedy files or one of those like Marilyn Monroe files. I don't know, that reference doesn't mean much to me. Maybe because I don't know the story of their love, but I guess it was scandalous. But I love The Jacket. It's kind of like your standard, it reminds me of My List by Toby Keith. I think that should be the next single. I think The Jacket is an awesome song, and I think Girl Going Nowhere is a career song. And if you haven't yet, you must go watch Ashley McBryde making her Opry debut while singing that song, and it is like the most loaded, tear-inducing, beautiful thing that I can imagine being caught on camera. So definitely go check that out if you haven't. I'm sure I've rambled, guys. Like I said, I'm still trying to get into the swing of making videos again. I'm doing whole album reviews, not just reactions. So forgive me if these are inarticulate, but I wanted to do my little teeny part as someone with this much influence in country music land to say, this record's awesome. Ashley McBryde is the real deal. There's so much cool storytelling on this. I didn't even talk about Southern Babylon, but that's a weird, fatalistic, sort of gothic song about how it's her destiny to end up in these sort of decrepit bars singing, which is cool. She's a whiskey-drinking, full-throated storyteller. And so I think you guys will enjoy this record, and it couldn't be more different than the shimmery prettiness of Casey Musgraves, but it's still really awesome. So check it out, enjoy it, and hey, props to Warner, I think is who's putting out this record. Warner Brothers. Let's just check really quick. Yeah, Warner Brothers. Guys, it's real easy to hate on labels. And look, they make a lot of crap. Music Row produces a lot of crap. But when they give us top shelf, it's so nice to get that major label production, that major label promotion. That's all we ever wanted when we were all mad at the bro country, stuff 3 or 4 years ago. It's not that that had to go away. It's just give us top shelf and give us the bottom shelf. We don't need everything to be Fireball. And Ashley McBryde is absolutely top shelf, but she'd probably still shoot Fireball with you. So enjoy the album. Let me know what else you want me to listen to, and let me know what your top 3 songs are from this record. I'm going to go ahead and say Girl Going Nowhere, The Jacket, and just so I can have a little bit of tempo in there, I'm going to say Living Next to Leroy. But I wanted to say Andy, I Can't Live Without You. So those are my top 3. And as far as the rating for this, I'm going to give this album, 8.5 beards out of 10. It's awesome. So give it a listen and let me know what you think of it. Bye, y'all.